JavaScript testing that's fast, modern, and mature? This is your first 5 minutes with Vitest. This is First 5 unboxing videos for open source. You're writing a JavaScript app, vanilla JS, React with TypeScript, or even a backend. You could run a dev server, switch to a browser all the time, poking around in dev tools, looking at the console, then switching back, repeat. Does not spark joy. You want to stay in the flow in Node in your IDE in a test. You could use Jest, but it's kind of slow, kind of an old stack. Still no sparking, still no joy. You've heard about Vite. It's fast, based on modern everything. Maybe you watched a video on it. I want my test experience to be like that. You're in luck. Vitest from the Vite team. Can't unbox it if you can't find it. Surprisingly, Vitest does not appear on the Vite homepage. Just search for Vite testing and you'll find Vitest as the first match. It's a great website, very similar to the Vite site, and quickly tells you the key selling points. ESM plus TypeScript out of the box was what first got me to try Vitest. The Vitest guide is great. It explains everything, specifically how to get started. We could install from the terminal using npx. Maybe there's a better way. Vitest is mature, which means good IDE integration, so we'll install from there with the official Vite scaffold. Let's start now with vanilla JS, no TypeScript. The window opens. We install the dependencies. We're now set up with Vite. Compared to create React app, it's a wafer-thin mint. Go to package.json, list Vitest as a dev dependency, then install it. We're now set up with Vitest. We found it, it's at our front door. Let's open it up and poke around. We just added a few source files, each with a test. Here we have a source file. We open the test file in split view. You won't believe how easy it runs. For me, watch mode is the star of the show. Vitest watches for changes. As you change a test, it only reruns that test. As you change a file, Vitest determines which tests need to be rerun. In fact, Vitest is fast enough to always run under the debugger and get a great developer experience. You make a change and your test breaks. You want to poke around. Set a breakpoint and just do something like put a space in the code. You'll stop on that line. You can look at variables, poke around by evaluating expressions. You'll wonder how you coded without it. Want to see test coverage? Run it under watch mode, which requires an npm package. Vitest generates coverage information showing what you're missing. Then, as you write tests, Vitest updates just the changes. That's the basics, and Vitest is already pretty awesome. Let's see something a little bigger. This time I ask Vite to generate a React plus TypeScript project. We need Vitest. React folks use React testing library. And instead of JS-DOM, I'll use HappyDOM. We also need a vitest.config.ts file to configure Vitest. It's cool that we can write config files in TypeScript. That was a hassle in Jest. Vitest has a plugin for React, so we just point at it. And we set the environment to use HappyDOM. Let's go to the app component and extract the logo part to its own functional component. Then move that new component to its own file. Single responsibility principle. We wrap up this component with some typing information to use as the logo's props. We'll now start writing a test. A file with the name .test. Gets picked up. Vitest feels a lot like Jest and bundles the chai assertion library We start a test case using it, which we auto import from Vitest. Then give the test some descriptive text and start the test function. We start by using testing library to render our logo component, passing in a URL as the component prop. Then grab a link with some TypeScript typing. Then use screen to grab the element by role. The type helps autocomplete the next line. Next, assert that the link's href matches the value we expect in the component. Always be debugging. Let's see if the test runs, of course, under the debugger. Debugging for JSX still works. Set a breakpoint, press space to make some change, and save. We'll stop on that line. As a note, we wrote a component and stayed in the IDE and never went to the browser. This watch mode really works well when you have a big code base and lots of tests. It's almost a run as you type interaction. Now that we've played with Vitest, keep it or return it. As the French word says, Vitest in watch mode is fast, game-changingly fast, even in debug mode. But startup time with a very big test suite might be less fast. Despite its youth, Vitest is mature, popular in surveys, and supported across the ecosystem. On the downside, the Vite and Vitest dependency graph, which powers fast watch mode, sometimes gets confused. Finally, something I miss from PyTest, the concept of fixtures. All in all, am I keeping Vitest? Oh, hell yes. I'm all in and I'm hoping to work towards the next level of Zen. That's first 5 on Vitest. Can it dethrone Jest? Can it break out of its Vue.js association and be kind of the pan JavaScript testing tool that we need? Leave some comments. Tell me what you think. And thanks for watching. See you in the next video.